The name Cygnus basically came from two things. First, my love for the Australian band Alarum. My good friend Scott Young wrote an incredible instrumental piece called Cygnus X1. I was curious to see what the name actually meant, so I googled it and found out that it's a massive black hole in space. It actually contains one of the strongest X-ray sources seen from Earth. So that really interested me. I chose that name many years ago just so I could release music and everyone would know that it came from me. Just in the same way that Ishan has that name and it's separate to Emperor, but everyone knows that all the side music comes from him. So yeah, I chose that name and I stuck with it. I started playing stringed instruments when I was 14 years old. I wanted to be a drummer at first, and my mum said it was too loud for the neighbourhood, so I got bass instead. Yeah, I just stuck at it. When I got home from school, I played for a few hours every day. I was into some alternative rock and some fast punk like Frenzal Rom and um, Guttermouth and things like that. And yeah, I used to just play as fast as I could. I had no idea what I was doing. And as the years went on, I got a metronome and I learned some simple scale stuff. And yeah, I forged my sound that way, I guess, just by playing and listening to other bands and yeah, locking myself in my bedroom and go and hack. I listen to so many genres, mostly extreme metal, as it's something that I can understand on many levels. In terms of playing, in technicality and expression. However, I listen to a lot of extremely opposite music like Sigur Rós, Portishead, of Monsters and Men, the Jezebels, Bjork, really anything that moves me emotionally. I basically listen to anything that has feeling in it. I don't really care if it's metal or not, but like things like pop and simple rock, they just don't do anything for me. So I can normally tell in a few seconds if I'm gonna like a song or not. I think Jaco Pastorius explained frets best when he said they're speed humps. Basically, when you have frets on a bass, it's a piece of metal, and they're in the fretboard in increments, and each increment generates a note. So E, F, F sharp G, G sharp A. If you remove those lines and you just have a flat board of wood, then you have so many more notes in between those lines that you can play. And it's called micro intonation. So you can slide around the fretboard, slide in and out of notes. Whereas if you have frets, it gives that speed bump effect where it's like dun 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 dun, makes it a bit more clunky. So I think it's much harder to play without frets on a fretless bass. And the tone really comes from the fingers, the frets, the string against the frets, and yeah, certain woods that you're going to use in the fretboard if you are playing fretless. Um, Basically, you just got to start slow. You've got to learn how to walk before you can run. So if you're going to use three fingers, pick a tempo on the metronome, say 80 or 100 BPM. Start doing slow divisions, 3 2 1 2 3 2 1 2 3 2 1 2, and work on that for 10 minutes. Then speed it up another 5 BPM to 85 BPM, or whatever is slightly out of your comfort range, and then play for another 10 minutes. So it's all about building finger strength, starting slow, making sure every finger is equal volume, equal attack, and then building it up from there. So it doesn't come quickly, it takes years of practice. In the same way that a drummer can go fast on their pedals, you have to start slow and just build it up over time. Tips to go from a guitarist to a bassist. Start using your fingers. So I went from playing bass to playing guitar. So I was competent with my fingers, but I couldn't use a pick. So I had to learn how to use a pick. So the other way around is if you're a competent guitarist and you want to get better at bass, start using your fingers. I strongly suggest you use your fingers and not a pick on bass because it just opens up much more possibilities on the bass as far as slap and tap and just the tone of your fingers against the fretboard. Yeah, so just go simple. Start simple with your fingers. Get comfortable 2, then introduce 3, then 4 if that's your thing. Simplify bass lines. Stick to the root notes to begin with, and then add in extra notes and colorations. Whereas if you're a guitar player, you're probably doing a lot of leads and 4-note chords and things like that. So if you're going to play bass, keep it simple to begin with and introduce your arpeggios and octaves. My favorite memories of touring with Neo are all of them. Every single place we go to has its own special architecture and vibes and cuisine, art, history, people. Everything's just an incredible experience, and I'm incredibly grateful to be able to see the world while playing music that we have written. It's an absolute honor to just do that. That was my dream, and I'm living my dream. So every single moment is very special to me. I've been to India, Israel, Finland, China, Japan, and they all have their completely different vibes, completely different foods, and just general energy about the area. It's just incredible. India was a really crazy place. There's a lot of chaos going on, a lot of crazy driving, crazy food. It was just awesome to be there, and it was still one of the gigs we've ever played. So that was definitely at the top of my list of mind-blowing moments with Neo Blivascaris. Um, Israel was really beautiful. The sun was out. The beach looked like Miami. There was palm trees. There was local food everywhere. Beautiful shawarma kebabs. Just amazing. I love to go back there. We don't get many days off, to be honest, but when we do, I like to go to the gym, keep fit, do shopping, try and eat moderately healthy. I'll go down to the beach, yeah, walk through the city and try local food. Just check out what's going on in the city, if there's any art galleries or anything like that. So yeah, just get a feel for the area. Influences. I have so many influences. Literally every musician I listen to influences me in some way. Um, Anything I listen to can influence me in my music or my lyrics or anything like that, art. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint where the influences growing up because there were so many of them. I started listening to um, punk like Frenzal Rhomb and Millencolin, and then I went into like Marilyn Manson and Slipknot, and then I jumped quickly into Cradle of Filth and Cannibal Corpse, and I found that was the music that resonated for me mostly. Extremely fast drumming and technical riffing. It was exactly what I wanted. It was just insane, and I loved it. And so yeah, then I got more into my own instrument and playing fast sort of technical stuff. It was just really satisfying because I'm a pretty overactive thinker. Um, you know, I like to be on the move. I like to do a lot of things quickly. So I don't like relaxing very much. So yeah, extreme music sort of spoke to me the best. As far as bass playing is concerned, I was early influenced by Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. He has a lot of great bass lines that I still really enjoy the stuff he brings to that band, despite them being super popular, pop band. He's doing some really cool bass lines in that. Um, Gary Willis, another big influence for me with his 3-finger playing style and fretless bass. Um, Sean Malone from Cynic, one of my biggest influences for sure. Yeah, everything he's done is just absolute gold. So heartfelt. Every note he plays is just absolute perfection. So much rhythm, so much percussiveness in his playing, and amazing tone. He has my favourite bass tone out of any bass player, I would say. Um, Other bass players: Michael Manring, Victor Wooten, Bill Dickens, and Lars Norberg from Spiral Architect. He's another bassist that really inspired me to push myself as a musician. Because what he does in that band, I don't think anyone can compare to. He is the forefront of Spiral Architect. He runs circles around the guitars. He's an absolute monster on the bass, and he doesn't really do much outside of that. I think that CD was released 15 years ago, and he hasn't really done anything since, which is crazy. Because I think he's one of the best finger players in the game. Um, I've already mentioned that Victor Wooten, uh, Michael Manring, Bill Dickens. I'd probably say they're the best three bassists in the world. Michael Manring is god of the bass. There is nothing he can't do. Victor Wooten and Bill Dickens are masters of slap. They're just incredible. So I would say those three leaders of the game, and no one really comes that close, in my opinion. If someone offered to fully fund every single Neo tour, of course, music always comes first. Gym is secondary, and yeah, I mean, I can easily do push-ups on the ground or pull-ups in a park or something like that. So the gym itself, that just doesn't really matter to me. Music always comes first, and I'll find other ways to exercise. So I'll happily never set foot in a gym if you pay for all my tours. My favorite weightlifting exercises would probably be compound movements like deadlifts and squats because they work nearly the entire body. So, of course, I'm going to be in favor of something that does that. I really do like training triceps and chest and all that stuff, but I like the big movements. Nothing feels better than a huge deadlift. It just gets the whole body working in unity. I really dislike leg press. Kind of hurts my back. I don't think it's a very good machine. Leg extensions are probably better than leg press. You should just be doing squats instead of leg press. Get the whole body working. So how do I maintain mass on the road? I don't really. It's really hard for me at least. I don't know how some people do it. I've seen some bands carry their own weights around. We don't really have the space or excess baggage to fly weights around the world. So, yeah, I try and find a gym whenever I can. In America it was pretty easy because we'd stay at a Walmart and there'd be a local gym pretty close by that I could walk to. So I was getting in a few sessions a week. I try and do push-ups, backstage, sit-ups, just jumping squats, just little things like that whenever I can. But honestly, like I like to have fun on tour. I like to relax a bit more in that sense. I don't want to go to the gym every single day and wear down my body because headbanging on stage for an hour a night really takes it out of you. And then sleeping on a moving vehicle isn't very easy either. So I want to repair. So gym isn't a priority when I'm on tour. I try and eat moderately well. I'll try and cook my own, rice and chicken and veggies, rather than just eating Macca's or McDonald's 3 times a day. So yeah, I try to do the best I can, but it's not really my priority. My priority is staying healthy, not getting sick with a flu, being stuck in the bus or van with 6 members. You can expect material from Infinite Density very, very soon. It's pretty much done. There's just a few tiny tweaks in mixing and mastering. I'm focusing mostly on the art. It's going to come with a 12-page booklet that I've designed all myself. Every song has a picture to accompany it. Um, yeah, I'm in no rush to release this, even though it's taken 8 years all up. But I do want everything to be absolutely perfect. I'm really proud of this project that I've spent so long on, and I really hope you guys dig it. So check the webpage, keep up to date with what's going on, and I hope you enjoy it. I don't really know any jokes, to be honest, Bill. I don't really know any one-liners or jokes that I can really think of off the top of my head. I love laughing. I love having fun with my friends. I watch cartoons. I love Family Guy and American Dad and South Park and all that stuff. But as far as one-liners, never really been my thing. Sorry, dude. My typical day. I'm gonna assume you mean when I'm not touring. So my typical day would be I'll wake up anytime I want because I hate alarms and I like to wake up naturally. Um, I'll cook breakfast, which normally consists of, say, 6 eggs, 4 strips of bacon, some avocado, lots of hot sauce. Um, I'll take the dog for a walk. Um, you know, I have students throughout the day sometimes. Um, I'll go to the gym generally around between 12 and 2 p.m. and I'll train for 1 to 2 hours, maybe 4 or 5 times a week. And then the rest of the day I really just work on music. I play a lot of guitar and bass, do a lot of composing, write all my ideas in Guitar Pro. That's about it. And at night I like to wind down by playing Fallout 4 or watching shows that are coming out like Game of Thrones. Things like that. I'm just basically looking forward to the James Webb Telescope being launched. I think it's being launched in around 2018, and it's like the size of a tennis court. It's 7 times more powerful than the Hubble Space Telescope, and it can find water on exoplanets. It can peer, 200 million years further into the past than the Hubble Space Telescope. So it's going to generate some incredible images, and I'm really excited to be alive in a time where we can peer that far into the distance of space. Um, can't wait to see more images of black holes, quasars, neutron stars, and nebulas that we haven't discovered yet. I absolutely love Fallout 4. I played Fallout 3, and I don't have much time to play games, but I haven't played that many games in my whole life, to be honest. But Fallout 3 was something that I spent many, many hours playing. In fact, many months playing. And so I was so excited when Fallout 4 came out. I started playing that. I try and put in an hour every night if I have time. Um, the faction I chose, I went with the Institute, and I don't want to give away spoilers, so I'm not going to say much about that. But yeah, I went with the Institute. I've completed the game, and I'm still doing random side quests and the downloadable content. I used the dog for most of the game, but since the Automatron come out, I have built a robot. I use Ada, and I have her some crazy upgrades, and she can carry 500 kilos of objects. So yeah, I've sort of retired the dog, and I'm just using the robot at the moment. My favorite movie. Ooh, that's a hard one. I collect a lot of films, and I've seen a lot of movies. I own about 1,000 movies, so picking a favorite is very hard. But I'd probably have to go with Schindler's List. I think that's just an incredible piece of cinema. Very emotional, very visceral, well shot. It's just yeah, that movie really affects me a lot. Um, I also really love like a lot of horror. So my favorite horror films would be Inside, High Tension, and Martyrs. So yeah, so many films that I love. It's really hard to pick one. I sort of have a favorite film for every genre, but I'd probably say overall Schindler's List. Hmm. My perfect band would be Sean Malone on bass, Romain Goulon on drums, Jacek Hero on guitars, Sami Räikkönen on lead guitars, and maybe Jim Gray on vocals, clean vocals, or if it was screaming, it'd probably be Attila. So yeah, that'd probably be my world-saving band. Okay, so some of you may have known that the airline lost my bass for 3 or 4 days, and we played a festival in Spain, and I had no bass, and we couldn't find a replacement bass, so I just stood in the crowd up the front and watched my own band play. So it was a very surreal experience, and it was fun. I'd never been able to watch my own band play before, so it's not something that I want to do ever again, but at least I got to do it once, and it was pretty amazing to watch my boys up there doing their thing and rocking out and being part of the crowd, headbanging along and singing along. And yeah, a lot of people in the crowd noticed me and they all had their arms around me. Yeah, it was really cool. But what's so special about my bass guitar is that, um, well, it's not so much that I needed my bass guitar, I needed any bass guitar. And we were playing in a forest, and it was so far away from anything that there was just no way to get a left-handed 5 string 24 fret bass because that's the minimum that I need. Like, I don't care if it had a headstock or not, but the minimum requirements for me to play the Near Blue Oscara songs is, yeah, 24 frets, 5 strings, so, and left-handed. So yeah, it was very low possibility that I was going to find a replacement instrument, and I didn't. So I just stayed in the crowd and I watched the yeah, I watched Near Blue Oscara's play. Um, you know, I have the bass here. So what's so special about this instrument is it's carbon fiber, so it's not made out of wood. The neck is woven carbon graphite, very light material, very percussive sounding, mahogany body, 5 string, headless. You I don't necessarily like headstocks. For many reasons, I do like the look of the headless bass, but also with a headless bass, the weight balance is distributed purely in the middle of the bass, so it just sits on my body. And when I let go, it stays there. If I had a really long bass with a headstock, sometimes they can lean down when you take your hand off it. So the weight is distributed very evenly in the middle. It's very easy to play, very quick. It's travel friendly because it's almost the same size as a guitar, and it's really easy to restring. I can restring in a few seconds just by putting in, I clip it in the top and bottom, tune it via the bottom. It's just, yeah, there's so many reasons why I play a headless bass. It's like a Ferrari compared to, a cheap little car. Yeah, so that's what's special about my bass, and I absolutely love headless basses.